Are you a prepper or homesteader looking to connect with like-minded people in your area? Looking to start your own preparedness group? Already have a group? Well, look no further than PrepperNet. PrepperNet is dedicated to personal responsibility, individual freedoms, and being self-reliant. PrepperNet has monthly meetings in over 100 cities where you can meet and learn with like-minded people in your area. PrepperNet, where preppers unite. Find us online at preppernet.com.
Survive, thrive, stay alive. It's time to get prepared with the Prepping Academy podcast.
All right, welcome to the Prepping Academy podcast. I am Forrest, and we have UncleBuck in the house as well. And man, again, welcome to the podcast. And we've been producing some great shows. Okay, maybe not, but Jonathan Hollerman was a great show. I enjoyed that.
And so relevant to current events, right? Super relevant to current events.
Oh, very relevant. And so we got more interviews coming your way. Go back and listen to our previous podcast, and you will just be entertained. Maybe not. You'll learn stuff.
You learn some cool stuff.
So
what's been going on with you, man? What's the latest?
Well, I went to a wedding this weekend and had the whole family in, the kids and everyone, and it was wonderful. We just actually had a wonderful time together. And then I got a little cold, which I hate that. Little sniffies.
It's going around.
Is that a word, sniffies?
I think so.
Okay.
Sniffles.
Yeah. Little sniffles, and struggling with that. But other than that, it was a great weekend and relaxed with the family and just chilled. How about yourself?
I can't even think back that far. And it was yesterday. Just family stuff. I think we had a birthday party. We did have a birthday party Saturday, and we got, it was at a laser tag place, and I'm like, I've never played laser tag. So we got to go in where all the kids got to go in. It's a bunch of 7-year-olds. They all get to go in, and we start gearing them up, putting on their vests and get their little laser gun. And they invited the parents in, like you could go to the watchtower and just watch them play and stuff. So I was like, all right, that's great. And I saw a couple dads like loading up. They were putting the vests on. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, you guys are going to go in there? Like, they're like, oh yeah, adults can go in too. I was like, all right, give me my stuff.
Game on.
Let's go. So I went in there, and I just went on a room clearing mission. I was clearing rooms left and right. It didn't matter. I came out and looked at the score. I ended up coming in second place. How is that possible? This other guy, I guess he was just sitting somewhere and just getting all the kids. I'm like, all right, he had beat me. I'm like, I don't know how it happened, but he did. I was like moving all over the place, like doing like legit room clearing, and it was a good time. It was fun. And then my little one came with me. After she tried to shoot me like over and over and over again, I was like, why don't we just team up together and start going after people? So we did that. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed you didn't win. You needed some smoke grenades.
Flashbang, at least a couple flashbangs.
Yeah, that's what you needed. You didn't have all the tools that you're used to.
That's right. That's correct. But it was fun. It was really fun.
I've done laser tag. It was a long time ago. It was a lot of fun. I prefer airsoft. I haven't played airsoft. Like, I've seen people on like YouTube, and snipers just hiding in the woods, just nailing someone, I don't know how many yards away, but that looks fun.
And that hurts too when it hits you. You feel a sting.
That makes it even better.
Mm-hmm. You got hit.
There's one guy, he exposes like people that cheat all the time too, because he videotapes everything. It's pretty cool. But Yeah, well, so you came in second. Well,
Came in
that's very
second.
disappointing.
It's super disappointing.
I mean, I've lost a little bit of respect from you because, and the person that won, was it like a 7-year-old?
No, it was a kid. It was an adult. It was one of the dads.
Okay,
Yeah,
that would have been really embarrassing if it was a
that
7-year-old.
kid's got a future in the Marines.
Well, that's awesome. We went to like I said, a wedding, and it was a great wedding. It was a kid that is really close to the family, and yeah, it was a good weekend. So, but man, there was some crap going on this weekend, wasn't there? I didn't even know about it until all of a sudden they said, "Hey, there's a Chinese spy balloon floating over the United States," and I'm like, "Whatever." I did not even believe it. The first two people, and then a third person had to confirm it, and I'm like, "What?
What is going on? Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, why haven't we just blown the thing out of the air?"
Mm-hmm. So there's I'll get your thoughts on it, because I'm like, there's what the news says. First of all, like, China has satellites all over us, right? We know where their stuff is. They know where our stuff is. That they already know where all this stuff is just from satellite technology. And then you got cyber, and then you got, spies on the ground. They know where all our stuff is. It's not like they need to send a balloon to go find it. Right? I mean, they already know where it's at. So that narrative didn't make a lot of sense. What I do know is that we can find and track any asset moving, right? I mean, ship, plane, we can track it. We know right where it's at. So when that thing launched, wherever it launched from, that's a question I have. I don't know where it came from exactly. And maybe we won't know, but as soon as that thing went up, like, we had to have been tracking it. There's no way, like, we weren't tracking it. So we knew right where it came from. At least the military did, that there was something up there. Like, we had to know it.
And if that balloon was meant for America, China had to know where to release it from as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you can sometimes the airstream can take over, and there may be one path kind of thing, but to get it in the right trajectory, I guess. I mean, you'd have to know. I mean, and I'm sure that's basic information for some of these weather and balloon freaks, but and then where was it released? If it was released on the east side of China and it went over across China, then you could maybe make an argument or something. It was supposed to come down, it didn't. But if they launched it right on the west coast, or the east coast, which is closer to us, I mean, do you think we'll ever know that information?
Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. And I was just reading today, there was another one found in Latin America. So you got to be kidding me that two of them got loose. And
you think that one was meant for America as well? I mean, seriously, nothing against Latin America, but what intel do you need from down there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of activity going on still down there. I mean, and that's even if it's a spy balloon. Who knows? Like,
right.
I don't know. Right? We talked about the. So my first thought was, it is a way to create a narrative to get the American population galvanized against China, because eventually we'll go toe to toe with them. Like, I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I mean, it probably will. And then you want to start crafting that narrative. So my first thought was like, this is probably ours, and we're just blaming it on China just to galvanize and get the America. Because look at how much it spun up people, right? It spun up social media, news, everybody getting all fired up on it. So that narrative is getting planted in people's subconscious that, hey, China bad, they're doing bad stuff to America, we probably got to go get them. So that was my initial thought. And then the other thought was, and I messaged Jonathan Hollerman after we had our session. I connected with him and shot him a message, and I'm like, dude, we just talked about this last week, about using a balloon to transport a small nuke into the atmosphere and detonate it and wipe out like a substantial portion of the grid. So yeah, And I read different things on it. Like this thing was only up about 10 or 11 miles, but to really have a massive impact, the balloon would need to be up about 20 miles above the Earth's surfaces. So yeah, so I don't know.
Do you think they're listening to our podcast and go, wow, that's a great idea?
They're probably listening right now.
I think that's probably how it happened. They literally heard us talk about it and they go, wow.
Launch the balloon.
Let's do a test run. I'm sure that's what happened.
It could have been a test run too, man. It could have been it could have just been a test run to see how we responded, right? Some provocative actions.
How do you think we responded?
Slow. Very slow. I mean, the only reason I think Joe Biden, the POTUS, I think on Wednesday said shoot it down. And the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Lloyd Austin, wanted to stand down on it and wait until it got all the way through to the other side of the U.S. or I guess down and across to the east. And I think they shot out around Myrtle Beach, somewhere around there, like the East Coast. So I don't know why wait specifically when it was like over Montana. What's it gonna? It's not a very populated state. Like the chances of it landing something or someone is pretty small.
I just don't understand why, if we saw it coming and we have the capability in Alaska to just take it out before it comes over U.S. airspace. I mean, what? I mean, that's would seem like the protocol. If we send a fighter jet over China, they're going to come after us immediately. They're not going to go, well, we're just going to let it fly over so they can get home.
Yeah, I don't get it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much more information comes out if we know. The other thought I was like, this is just something that clogs up the news cycle while something else is happening on the side. You know what I mean? Like that happens all the time. Like here's a distraction for the next 48 hours. There's other stuff going on that we're just not privy to until well after the fact.
Right. Yeah. Well, do you think that Joe Biden, he said Wednesday, that's when he told first of all, he said he was overruled by his military commanders.
Can't do that. He's commander in chief. He doesn't understand his role.
Are you kidding? Then you need to be fired. Mm-hmm. If people, your subordinates, your people that are under you overrule you, then you need to be fired.
100%.
I just don't, I can't comprehend that. I'm telling you this. Let me name the presidents. Clinton wouldn't have had that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bush's wouldn't have had that. Trump wouldn't have had that. Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, no one of them. Jimmy Carter maybe. But presidents just don't do that. They listen, but he said that they were overruled. He was overruled.
Can't be. The final decision comes with him. So they could all say no, and he could say, yeah, go do it.
Yes.
It's his call. So.
But that ticked me off when he said that. I mean, you just, even if someone gave you advice, you don't say it that you were overruled as the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're just undermining your authority in front of everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I ended up chatting with somebody. Actually, I caught up lunch today, and they were asking me all about, what is going on? Like, what's happening with this balloon? Like, I got text messages like, what's happening? I'm like, I don't know. Here's my theory. I mean, who really knows what's going on? But like, here's a couple theories. But I laid it out, but it's definitely got a lot of folks' interest on it. And then they were even asking about what's this EMP stuff that I keep reading about. I'm like, oh, let me tell you about this interview we just did with this guy named Jonathan. Don't read it. Don't read his second book. You'll be depressed after like the first third of it. I was like,
well, that's the truth.
But it's good. I mean, it was actually, yeah, you need to read it just because it's a slap in the face of reality of what could potentially happen.
Just imagine if there was a small EMP, which a small EMP is, you could definitely, that balloon could take a good size EMP. I mean, it's a nuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. It could take a good size. I think it could probably carry 1,000 pounds plus. And, I read somewhere today that a small EMP or nuclear bomb could weigh less than 100 pounds. And, but imagine if that was, that literally could destroy America. If it was, they could have destroyed America by us not taking action.
Yep. Yeah. I was reading, another article was on how China was using balloons to launch hypersonic missiles. Did you see that?
No.
Which I'm like, that didn't even make sense. I read it. I'm like, well, it's a hypersonic missile. Like, why would you use a balloon for that? Like, you'd use it off a sub or something like that, like right on the coast.
Maybe the missile is the balloon, and they just put a lot of.
It's like a like the what is it? The Wile E. Coyote, like something from Looney Tunes.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
The Acme rocket.
So, oh my gosh, but if I'm North Korea and I go, oh my gosh, China, they just let a balloon come from China. We could probably launch one because we're so close to China. They won't know whose balloon it is, maybe.
Possibly.
And we could put a small nuke in there and just destroy America. I don't know. That just concerns me. I think, a family member was, a family member said, well, Biden's going to shoot it down, when it gets off the coast. And I'm like, the damage is done. Mm-hmm. You don't think that they were transmitting data live to a satellite or somewhere back? They aren't waiting to recover that balloon somewhere and then download the data so they can have the data. That's not what they're doing. Who would do that? Hey, let's take a quick break.
Are you a prepper or homesteader looking to connect with like-minded people in your area? Looking to start your own preparedness group? Already have a group? Well, look no further than PrepperNet. PrepperNet is dedicated to personal responsibility, individual freedoms, and being self-reliant. PrepperNet has monthly meetings in over 100 cities where you can meet and learn with like-minded people in your area. PrepperNet, where preppers unite. Find us online at preppernet.com.
Yeah, it's being set. If it was recording data, yeah, it's definitely being I would assume it's being transmitted somewhere else, and that data is being captured somewhere, bouncing through satellites. Balloon spy technology, I don't know enough about, man. I really don't know enough about, but it does set precedence if it is in fact China's balloon that, hey, we can do that, and America's is not going to do anything. They're just going to wait for it to go over the entire country, and then they might do something about it.
I hope not. I hope we kind of learn from that. Also with that, it just opens Pandora's box. Maybe it's like our borders. We'll let anyone come in from the border, a person, no matter, what they've done in the past. And I guess we'll let everything come in through the airways now. What kind of makes me think there's an agenda.
There has to be. Or they're not dumb people, right? Doing this stuff. They're smart people.
Where's the love for America and to protect, America and what good America has done? It's like, logically, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Doesn't fit today's narrative. If you say that, you're bad.
Now, I do want to read something, because there are people that are arguing that Biden did the right thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's because they're so blind that they can't see. They're so in love with their liberal policies and their social policies. They can't see their stupidity. I don't know how, they're just blind. And this reminded me of a Bible verse that I'm going to read.
All right. Hit it.
Because This is in 2 Thessalonians 2:10-12. And what it talks about, I'm not going to, I'll read it, but it says, in all the ways that witnesses deceive those who are perishing. So here's the thing though. It says they perish, wicked people perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. So they're literally deciding not to believe in God. So verse 11 says this is crazy. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie, so that they will all be condemned who have not believed the truth, but have delighted in wickedness. So what that is saying is they're so far believing the lies and they're so against God. God's going to finally go, okay, guys, I've done all this stuff. You've seen my work. You've seen my son. And now I'm going to kind of send you a delusion so you'll just believe the lies. And that's easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, some people, I think that spirit of delusion has hit, and people are just believing the lies. And they're like, oh, Biden can't do anything wrong. Oh, the Democratic Party can't do anything wrong. Oh, these men are truly women. It's a delusion, and they can't even fix it at this point.
But are we like in unprecedented times? This is where I'm like, every generation's like, oh my God, this is going to be it. And then like the generation before it was, oh my God, this is going to be it. That things are just going south. Or is it, do we just hit a certain point in time and we're that generation saying, hey, what is going on? This is just getting crazy now.
Well, okay. Lack of knowledge is the reason people thought it was going to, the Jesus or the end was going to come earlier. As we get further on and things happen, like for an example, here's a lack of knowledge. There is no way the end could have started without Israel being a nation. We didn't know that until the last 70 years, 65 years. Then when it became a nation, we're like, oh, that's what the Bible means right there. And we were like, it's like revealed to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the Jewish people have a calendar, and, and God put them in charge of it. And God is revealing things off the calendar as well that we've really never noticed. And all of a sudden we're like, oh my goodness. And we're learning. So here's the thing. Here's the encouragement. I don't know when it is, but Daniel, when he finished writing Daniel looked up to the Lord and said, Lord, all these things you just showed me in the vision, and I wrote down, tell me what this is. Help me understand it. And God told Daniel, seal these up, for they're not for you to understand. He says, I will reveal it to my people in the end of days. So he's going to reveal it to us. Mm-hmm. And we are in the end of days, technically by biblical standards. As soon as Jesus died on the cross and rose, we're actually in the end of days. That's the time period we're in. So it started, 2,000 years ago, then the days. But So anyway, but that delusion, I think, is coming. And I could go into that, but I love talking about it. But
yeah,
but this delusion of people going, oh, Biden, they don't even see that the dude struggles with answering questions in a press conference. They don't even see that and notice that. That is so crazy.
But I mean, you can look at it from both sides too, right? I mean, you had the Trump fans out there as well. It didn't matter what Trump said, didn't matter. Like, he could do no wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I could see it. There was just folks that were just committed to there's lines being drawn in the sand, right? I mean, right. Very, very stark lines. And I mean, hey, Trump, I think he did a lot of good things. I mean, maybe his Twitter activity is probably not the best.
Right.
And didn't have some presidential polish. Mean tweets. Yeah. I mean, he lacked some presidential polish. But I mean, he did a lot of good things too. And
I wouldn't say, I mean, I think Trump did some good things, but there's other people I would rather see up there for sure.
DeSantis? Are you a DeSantis guy?
No, I was thinking about you.
my foray into politics. It has come up. So I went right when I got out of the Navy and all this, all the crazy stuff was going on with COVID. I got linked up with some groups that were like, they're fighting all this stuff, masks in the schools, the woke ideology. They were fighting all this stuff, and they were trying to get folks into the political realm to run at the local level, right? Board of County Commissioners, running for your particular district, getting on the school board, something like that. And so I end up going in, and I'm registered independent. Like there's good and bad on both sides.
Right.
Mostly a lot of bad on both sides now. It's just a hot mess. But I was looking at and going Republican Party. So I reached out, said, hey, let me go chat with you guys. They sent me this survey, and it was all these questions. Like I'm talking for us, like 150 questions, like crazy questions on where I stood on this or that. And it was like this all or none on every question. So if you were not into it, that means you were part of the Democrat Party. I'm like, it was super bizarre. I'm like, I'm already not liking where this is going, because like you can't have a one size fits all for everything. There's hard problems to solve in our world, right? And you don't have a solution that's going to benefit everybody all the time. Like, it's impossible. You're going to make somebody mad. That's just part of the role. But it was eye opening. Trying
was
to
that
go
a
to that
local
route.
level or a national level?
That was a local level. Yeah. So that would have just been running for something here locally. Would I do it again? Maybe in the future. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm in Charlotte, man. Charlotte. I don't know.
You can't win in Charlotte.
You can't win in Charlotte. You can't.
It's totally blue.
It's totally blue. They're so far left here. Yeah.
Well, I thought about running, but man, I have a pass.
A past. A sketchy past.
Sketchy, man. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go the normal route of like 4 years of college. They'll see that I went like 5.5, 6.
It's all good.
And then I was in the military, and I did get honorable. I mean, everything went good there, but they would I just couldn't handle it. I don't have the patience to be in politics.
Neither do I. I don't have the temperament for it either.
Yeah,
I don't have the temperament.
I'd be calling people idiots. I'm not saying I approve of anything Trump did when it comes to the way he reacted to people and mean tweets, but that's me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you don't have time for the nonsense, because you have that much more of the execution mindset, right? Like, here's a problem, let's go solve it, and like, let's move on to the next problem. Let's just get through it.
So, the balloon mania. So, did you see it at all? I didn't. It was too cold. It was like
I didn't see
40
it.
degrees.
I heard it was passing over, and you could have saw it. I mean, I didn't even see it. I mean, I saw it on the news and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I mean, the moral of the story is what I like about what Hollerman said was, prepare for the worst case scenario, and anything that happens that is not the worst case scenario, you're going to be prepared for that as well.
Right.
That I really like that point. Like, think for the most epic thing, and an EMP blast going over your city, that would be pretty epic. So like, how do you prepare for that as best as you possibly can?
I got feedback from that podcast, and people are like, man, this is kind of doom and gloom. And I'm like, well, just understand right now, there is no EMP. You can go buy anything you want, and plan. The better you plan, the better off you are.
Mm-hmm.
The more, the food, all I've done with PrepperNet is preach groups. You got to be in a group. You got to be in the bigger group. I mean, I'm not saying 1,000 people, but 50 people is not a lot of people. And you got to be in a group. You got to have plans. Everyone's got to come together, and you run it just like a platoon in the military.
Yep.
And that's the structure of power as well. I mean, you got to have one person in charge, no committees. I mean, I know a lot of the Baptists want all committees, but you have working groups, but not when the time comes, and you can plan, and you can find places that are safe in the United States. Mm-hmm. Jonathan actually sent me one. He goes, "Hey, let's buy this," and he sent me this one. It's like I think it was 3,000 acres. I think it's in West Virginia, maybe, or somewhere.
West Virginia would be a great place.
Everybody it was $28 million of it. He said, we need to go in together and buy this. I said, okay, I'll come up with 1,000
down payment.
How much can you put down, Jonathan? But there's some good sites. I mean, there's still places you can go in small towns. I mean, that's one of the things that, PrepperNet's going to be doing is getting people to go, okay, I don't have a group, but I'm in a small town of 3,400 people. Mm-hmm. What can we do? Can I, get this group to, some of these people together and just know that others will come in and we can protect our little community of, 500, or maybe you do have a group. And so we're going to be providing resources for people to start putting things like that together.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I think the small towns will go a long way. It's super hard. I mean, I wouldn't say I have a group like at all. I got like buddies that I know and friends, but mm-hmm. it's not a structured, well-oiled group. I know a lot of folks, but like there's nothing like that would be a dedicated plan. If all comms went straight black, I would know exactly go here, right? Like, mm-hmm. I mean, I would know exactly where to go for immediate family and then maybe a few others, but linking up with a bigger contingent, no, like, so like that's, I gotta get into a larger group.
So I've been in a group since Y2K. So this is our 22nd, but 23rd year we've been together. I've shared a lot about that in some of the previous podcasts and YouTube videos, but so we're prepared. I mean, we are prepared. So everyone says to me, hey, I'm Forrest, I'm just going to go to your house. And I said, hey, great. Whatever's there, have fun with it. You're going to fight with my neighbors because they know what I have. They know what's going on. They're going to put a little group together. I'll be gone.
In Miami.
In Miami. Yeah, my retreat is on the sands of me. Yes. Who's going to kill someone on the beach in Miami? No one. And so, and we've got our plan. We've got, it may not work, but you know what? If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. 100%. And right now, people don't have a plan, and so they're planning to fail. They just said, okay, I'll just, a lot of people say, just, hope that nuke kills me when it happens. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really work like that. Nope. There's a lot of pain involved if you're going to die from a nuke.
Kills you slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's getting on to, more folks with PrepperNet. And then, for my big thing has been pushing on skills, like skill up, right? Like what new things can I learn? What new things can I bring to the table? And just keep adding to the skill set. And that's what I've been heavily focused on.
Yep. You mentioned today that there was a book that I think it had it has a big impact on a lot of people, but you think it was pretty close to what Jonathan was saying.
Yeah. So, Survival Theory 2, what we just talked about. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
No. 1 second after.
Oh, 1 second after.
Yeah. You said, what's his name? John Mathis? Was it? But I mean, they were fighting for food, and food was scarce.
Yep.
And you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. He so I think that professor is at Montreat, if I'm not mistaken. He teaches at Montreat College.
Yes,
William in Black Mountain. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's a grim reality of what could happen where all your cars are parked on the road. It's gridlock. You can't get in. Military is not coming to save you. That's kind of like what Hollerman was talking about as well. And then you got to figure out like, how do you turn your town into something like and keep the people together at the same time without going berserk and freaking out. It's a tough job. I mean, that's where leadership comes in big time. Like, how do you quell the personalities and keep everybody calm and keep them moving together? Because you got to win as one.
So Hollerman, I think he wants me to be on a task force for the EMP, and we're talking through that or do something helping. And we were talking about MREs, military MREs in the East. Every base has food, but it doesn't have food for the families.
Mm-mm.
So if you're a private or a sergeant or tech sergeant, staff sergeant, whatever you are, and you're going to work and you're eating, what are you going to do? You're going to put that stuff in your pocket to take back to your family.
Mm-hmm.
What I predict is they don't even let you go back to your family when it gets to that point. And that's when you're not going to come to work again anymore.
You just go AWOL. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, but he was saying that they have some report, they may have 14 days of food for every military person on every base. That's not a lot of food.
No. Like, yeah, there's, surely that stuff's got to be housed somewhere. I just remember being overseas. We didn't have a lot of food on base. I mean, maybe we had to come up with plans if a Scud missile came in and blew up the galley. Okay, like if it's partially blown, like it was like different scenarios where like it landed directly on the galley and destroyed it. So, okay, well, now where are we going to go prep food? We still got to feed folks that are going to be in the fight.
Right.
Like, what do we do? Or if it's partially destroyed, like how do we set that stuff up? So we had to like go through and like do like a pace plan for all these different scenarios. And like I had to brief it to our CO, our commanding officer. In the event these happens, this is going to be our protocol. This is where our rendezvous points are going to be. We'll meet here. This is how we're going to transition everything from paper plates and spoons and all that stuff like that. And then we'll helo in pallets of food to drop like on a frequent basis, coming from a different base. So that, and providing that one wasn't hit too. So like it's we didn't have a lot though. Like we really didn't have a lot of food. Like if it just all stopped, like you'd be in some hurt within a few short days. Like you'd be in some pain.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, I mean, China needs to stop messing around with us. We need to get some backbone up in Washington. And guys, two things you've got to store is, one is food. You got to have food. That every disaster, food is a common denominator that you need. The other one is water.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I have a well, but if power goes out, I do have ways to get that. But one is a generator. What an awful time to use a generator when no one else has a generator and I'm pumping up water. That's at this house where I am now. That's not a good thing. So I need a way to quietly get the water up. And then also probably I need to store some water as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and storing water is tough, but
it's heavy and it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
You could definitely do some of the rain barrels and stuff like that. The rain catchments, those work, although you got to, make sure you're treating it. And even if it's on the asphalt or the tiles, it can still give off chemicals and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's better than nothing, right? You got to have something.
Right. So I also, speaking of water, I was disturbed. I don't know the end results of this, but apparently someone's suing Berkey. Did you see that? Saying that their water filtration is not what they say, which bothers me because I've got like a couple in storage. And I'm like, oh, and I don't know where it is from now, but I did hear that someone was suing or saying that their numbers were wrong, which bothers me because a lot of people will be, dependent on that.
Yeah. What's the alternative is what is it called? Like Aqua Pure?
Yeah.
Have you heard of that one?
Oh yeah. There's all kinds of filtration systems, but Berkey, we got the sport one because I think it's the cheapest. It's like blue and you can see through it. Mm-hmm. And we got the filters and we got replacement filters and all that, but I hope it works because my life's, dependent on that and we end up dying. That would be bad.
And you can't sue Berkey at that time.
No, but I don't know the results of that. I saw that in an article. I'm sure some of you guys will post it in the comments or I'll go look at it, but I do have two of the sport ones They're not sure they're any lighter, but they were definitely cheaper when I bought them. Well, anything else you got going on?
Yeah, man, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and wrap. I know we got to do another live session here pretty quickly. But yeah, that's the moral story is like, be prepared, right? Food, water, like even a fire source, some of your propane tanks, anything like that, even wood. If you got what's the solo stoves? We got some of those. We got one of those solo stoves, and you got the little grill piece on it, so you could cook off that if you had to as well. So there's folks that prepare for that stuff. That like we keep bringing it up, but the outage in Fayetteville, where somebody took a rifle and shot out the substation, right? And they were out of power for 5 days. But I was following a guy there that does a lot of preparedness. He's ex Delta Force. And he's just like, just another day. He's like, just another day for me. I'm prepped up, just waiting for the power to go on. He didn't miss a beat.
He probably needs a son oven.
He might.
Well, awesome, man. Thanks for being on here again.
Yeah,
you're the man. So we got another one we got to record here in a little bit, but
yes, sir, we do.
Yeah. So you want to close us today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for this conversation. Please look after our listeners. Please look after Forrest, his family, as we navigate a just increasingly dynamic and oftentimes crazy world. Please care for our families. Please guide us in what we do here on this podcast, and give us godly wisdom to share the right information for the right people who need it when they need it, so we can ultimately be prepared for whatever gets thrown our way, Lord. Thank you, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for listening to the Prepping Academy podcast. Preppers Unite at www.preppingacademy.com.
Has your data been hacked? Do you feel uneasy about the vulnerability of your personal information online? Were you involved in the Target, LinkedIn, or Microsoft data leaks? Don't know? If not, then pay attention. Join Forrest Garvin from PrepperNet for a free webinar on privacy and security. Gain insights into safe internet browsing, VPNs, crafting online aliases, secure emails, detecting if your data has been hacked, and managing passwords. Secure your spot today for this webinar on privacy and security. It's free. This webinar delves into comprehensive strategies for bolstering your online privacy. We've got you covered, from fortifying your passwords to shielding your financial information and mastering state-of-the-art encryption techniques. We're offering 2 convenient dates to suit your schedule. Reserve your spot now at preppernet.com/privacy. Don't let cyber threats erode your peace of mind any longer. Take the first step toward a safer, more secure online experience by joining us for our free webinar. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to safeguarding your privacy. Sign up now at preppernet.com/privacy. We'll see you there.